You've been very, very good at setting yourself up to have a support system at your firm that a lot are not in person, so that you can do this, what's being called to you to actually do, right? The things that are still your passion, the things you want to do with your life. And I always tell people, lawyers come to me and they always ask me about to help guide them. And first question is always the same, what do you want to do? Like, what actually fulfills you as a human being? And
I'm a slave to my passions, as I always say. Most of those are hanging out with my kids and eating, but other than that,
that's what you like.
And playing golf.
But that's what you do. But for you, it's, you're heavy about helping people and doing this mission work and helping people in Guatemala. So how are you able to, and I think you're the master of this, how are you able to, if you wanted to work 30 hours a week or 20 hours a week, how have you set yourself up at such a young age to do it?
So I'll be honest. I think one advantage I have is both my parents are small business owners, okay? And so I'm a natural entrepreneur. I've been around it. And so at a very young age, like second, third year practice, I started listening to podcasts and listening to audiobooks and reading books on just the ways that you run a business, because, we're trial lawyers, okay? We try cases, but trial lawyers are notorious for being
the
bad
worst
at
business, man.
Okay, they're bad marketers.
We know a lot of
managers.
We even know a lot of our bankrupt trial lawyers that some of the biggest verdicts ever just have no idea.
Some amazing trial lawyers, but they don't know they could run a business.
Yeah.
And so, and even, there's some that have a firm and have a business, but they are leaving nickels, dimes, quarters on the table all the time because they just don't have good business sense. And so I started to develop that early on and started figuring out how to get cases from a business perspective rather than just through getting big verdicts, okay? Because that's the thing is you got to have some, typically, which you did it young, but most of the time, at least in the South, you got to have some gray hair to really get referrals from other lawyers.
Or to even get that trial experience.
Yeah, you got to have some verdicts under your belt before you have any clout. And so, getting cases are king. You got to have cases. And the next thing you have to have is some systems and processes, which I hate. I do not like I'm serious. I hate having to do it, but sometimes you just have to, there's certain things you have to grind on. And then training your folks and trusting your folks and delegating things. And so one little kind of practical thing that I do is we do like a quadrant. All my high level, mid-level people, we do a quadrant at least once a quarter where we track our time for a week. And we set silent alarms and we write down what we're doing every hour on the hour for a week, okay? And we sit down at the end of the week and we all look at it together and we find things that the quadrant is, here's the things that we're good at and we enjoy, here's the things that we hate and we're not really that good at, we could teach somebody else to do. And we try to get everything out of that lower right quadrant and put it on, somebody else that has a lower cost associated with their employment.
And is that how you work in your virtual assistants to try to fill those gaps for the lower quadrant?
Yes, and so we hire a lot of...
It's like John Wooden's pyramid of success kind of thing.
Yeah, and I've been a big believer, I always tell people, if you're not doing the stuff that you love to do in outsourcing or finding ways to delegate those other things, what are you doing? I know so many lawyers get lost in the muck and they're living in that lower quadrant. Wow.
And it's sad,
and employees, they got to evolve too.
I guarantee you, everybody that ever listens to this as a paralegal, if you go to your paralegal and you say, what's bogging you down? What do you hate? Mm-hmm. What can I do to make your job better and more enjoyable? They will have a list of things that you'll look at it and you'll say, why the heck is anybody doing this? I didn't even know we had to do this. And you can find somebody in Latin America, the Philippines, for $5 to $8 an hour that will do that and they will excel at it. And they'll be thankful that you gave them the opportunity to do it.
And that's 2 to 3 times the money that they're making now in those areas and gives them higher quality of life.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Okay, I have friends of mine who do the virtual stuff. They have employees in the Philippines, employees in Honduras, El Salvador. And, they talk about how I have these people that work for $5 an hour. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like boasting or bragging about. They do this for $5. But so sometimes I feel, because I don't have any virtual assistants, I feel like, oh wow, they're taking advantage of it. But in reality, they would be making $1 an hour, right? So you're not taking advantage of them, you're actually giving them a tremendous opportunity.
But have you ever